Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's Cone back here again today with another video, and today I want to talk for a little bit about Summer League. We're in the midst of the Vegas Summer League at the moment, a few days in, and I want to go in and talk about how some of the top names have done, mainly this upcoming rookie class. I haven't talked about them too much outside of when they got drafted, and now we're getting our first look at them in an NBA type atmosphere, and there are some big takeaways. Of course, Summer League doesn't really mean much of anything, but I think it's always fun to go ahead and overreact. So I want to talk about some of the players that have been most impressive and maybe some guys that haven't done exactly what I've been looking for. Also, the reason there haven't been videos in like 4 days is because I was at Summer League, which was fun. Shout out to all of you who came up and said hey, but also because I'm really sick. I have been now for almost a week, which, if you can hear my voice, hopefully it's not too bad. My energy is definitely lower than usual. Just keep that in mind throughout this video too. And if videos continue to be sporadic through the next few days, I'm still recovering, so I'll get y'all as much content as I can. But yeah, just want to go ahead and give that to y'all so you can keep it in mind. But for the moment, let me know down below what rookies have impressed you the most. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoy. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. Let's overreact to some Summer League games. Also, I'm definitely not going to be talking about every player in this video because this would be 50 minutes long, and again, I feel terrible. I don't have that type of energy, so just comment down below a player if you're curious what I think about them, and I'll go ahead and let you know. I want to start off by talking about the guy that's been most impressive, in my opinion, throughout Summer League so far, and that's Sheppard. Reed has been ridiculous, whether it's the scoring, 23, 12, 15 points, grabbing some boards, he's assisting, playmaking at a really high level, continuously setting up his teammates for great looks. He's great at dribbling the ball through a lot of chaos, but keeping it under control. He's good under pressure, whether he's knocking down threes with a hand in his face. That was always his game coming into the draft, was he was a knockdown shooter, a great offensive prospect. And you see that too with his mid-range game. Like, there were a number of times watching him in Vegas where I had no idea how he got off a mid-range shot and it just went in. It looked super casual. He wasn't phased at all. It looked like an everyday bucket for him. Getting in passing lanes, like he's got, it's 9 steals if I'm counting correctly through his first 3 games. Reed has been impressive on all fronts, and in the early going, again, he's been the most impressive player. Every time he's playing out there, whether it's an NBA player or it's scouts or fans or content creators like me, your timeline is going to be filled with people saying, wow, Sheppard just did something that's really, really cool. He's just one of those players, it feels like he just has a great feel for the game. He kind of knows where his teammates are, where he needs to get guys to. He's able to pass players open and really just has that kind of calm under pressure that not a lot of young players have, especially in their first NBA-like action here in Summer League. So I've really been impressed with what Sheppard has brought to the table, and looking at guys that could theoretically be, you know, the rookie of the year or maybe even eventually the best player from this draft class. Sheppard is one of those names you have to discuss. Now, rookie of the year could be a little bit tough because the Rockets have a lot of mouths to feed, whether it's Jalen Green, we'll see if he replicates the end of last season going into next year, Alperen Şengün, you've got Tari Eason coming back from injury, you've got Fred VanVleet there, Dillon Brooks, Cam Whitmore as well, who's been on the Summer League roster, has also looked pretty good. Like, there are a lot of guys that theoretically are going to need the ball, but with Reed, if he keeps playing like this into the NBA season, there's no reason why he shouldn't be one of the featured points of this offense. He shouldn't be involved in the rotation heavily and get a lot of minutes because he just makes such a positive impact every moment that he's out there. And looking forward to the future, I'd be excited if I'm a Rockets fan about a potential backcourt down the line starting for you of Amen Thompson and Sheppard. Amen as this great downhill attacker, incredible, one of the best athletes I've ever watched play basketball out there, not to mention his great playmaking. Reed's got that playmaking too, but also is a sharpshooter, so he can spot up on the perimeter. They can play well off of each other. I think that's a duo to be really excited about if you're the Rockets. And I know a lot of Rockets fans have already tweeted this. I'm not saying it's for sure or anything, but I do think there's a pretty solid path to Sheppard eventually being looked back on as the best player from this draft class. I don't think that's out of the question whatsoever. He's just solid at everything. As for the other top 2 picks, Zaccharie Risacher has kind of just been doing what I've been expecting, mostly spotting up. You know, he handles the ball every now and again, although the handle is clearly still a work in progress, which makes sense. He's really young, and that was not his strong suit coming into the draft. But he had 18 points on 3 threes, 7 of 16 against the Wizards, 11, 5, and 2, shot just 1 of 7 from the outside, 4 of 12 against the Spurs. A bit up and down. He's just one of those wings that's going to be more off ball. I'm excited more so to see what he looks like with Trae Young. I don't think Summer League is a place where we're going to see the best of Zaccharie Risacher. He feels like one of those players that once you put him in the NBA next to a playmaker like Trey and more pressure taken off of him, guys that can take some other shots, just give him better looks. I think he's going to be more effective. And I do still think there is a path to him winning Rookie of the Year. Also, I was impressed by some of his defensive plays out there, watching him in Vegas, so shout out to him. And then Alex Sarr, who has been not great through the early going of Summer League. 12-7 with 4 blocks against the Hawks in that first game, but just 4 of 12 from the outside, or 4 of 12 from the field, 2 of 5 from the outside, 0 of 5 from the outside against the Rockets, 4 of 14 shooting. Like, the efficiency's been bad, and a lot of that is because he's not really using his size. He's not banging down low with bigs. He's not attacking the basket, trying to finish around the cup through contact. He's settling for a lot of these turnaround mid-range jumpers, fadeaways, threes in transition. There was one play where it was like a 4-on-1 transition for the Wizards, and he just pulled up for 3 and bricked it. And I like the confidence. I like that he's taken 10 threes. He wants to shoot that shot. But at the same time, you're a 7-footer. Go inside and attack down low at least a little bit. That 3 shouldn't be his top weapon. It should be an auxiliary option. So that is something I'm keeping an eye on. I'm a little bit worried about how it seems like he just doesn't want to get physical at all. He doesn't want to get into that contact. As a big, you're going to have to be able to do that, especially because he's shown great shot blocking, 6 blocks through the 2 games that I was able to watch of his in Summer League when I was in Vegas. Like, he's a guy you would love having near the rim on both sides, but if he's not going to actually attack offensively, that's something that's tough to stomach. So you need Sarr to kind of figure out that shot diet, and again, it's Summer League, it'll take some time. But he was originally my Rookie of the Year pick, and now I'm definitely wavering a little bit. As for Bub Carrington, which, by the way, one of the best names in the entire league, he's looked great through the early going. 19-9-8 in Game 1, 18-4-5 in Game 2, 4 threes in both games. Bub has been on fire, whether it's the playmaking. I like a lot of the vision he's shown, his ability to make things happen off the bounce, the shooting. I like the aggression that he's going at opposing defenses with. He's just nonstop attack, attack, attack. If he can make a play for someone, great. If not, he's going to go out there and try and get his own bucket. That's cool. I like that from Bub Carrington, and I like the spot where he landed a ton. The Wizards had probably my favorite draft class out of anybody because I was a fan of Bub Carrington coming into the class, but I knew that he needed to land somewhere where he could be free to make mistakes and just have free reign, and Washington is exactly that. They're looking for their franchise guard. They don't know who it's going to be yet. They're hopeful that Bilal, Alex Sarr, those guys can be parts of the front court, but they need somebody in the backcourt, and Bub Carrington, I think, can absolutely fit that role down the line. He is going to have plenty of chances to go ahead and run the offense, make mistakes. This is a team that's hoping to be bad again next year to try and get Cooper Flagg, and it'll just allow him to kind of explore his game. I wouldn't be surprised if even there was a little bit of hype around Bub Carrington for Rookie of the Year. I think if they give him enough touches, he can make that type of impact. He can impress some people. He's got a really fun game to watch as well that I think a lot of fans could really buy into. So yeah, I'm just a big Bub fan. I think he's been great so far in Summer League, and I definitely want to give him a shout out. Stephon Castle only played 1 game before getting injured in Summer League, but I liked what I saw from him in that game. 22, 5, 4, and 1, 8 of 21 shooting, which isn't ideal, and 5 turnovers. But I more so like the poise that he showed when he was handling the ball in the pick and roll, when he was dribbling inside the arc, and there was a lot of congestion around him, getting to his spot, keeping guys on his hip, finding the roll man. I liked a lot of the point guard type skills that he showed, and obviously they're hopeful he could eventually become that type of player. He wanted to go somewhere where he could be the point guard. I think this is a spot where he can do that. Now, it might not be year 1 because they signed Chris Paul, but if anything, I think this is a perfect opportunity. If Stephon Castle, some of the skills he showed in this game translate to the NBA, and Chris Paul becomes his mentor for this season and even more beyond, I think there's a real chance Stephon Castle can be a star point guard in this league, and you give Wemby a guy like that, the league is in a lot of trouble, and I'll just go ahead and leave it at that. Kel'el Ware been great for Miami. He had 17, 3 and 3 with 3 blocks on 7 of 9, 1 of 2 from 3 in his first Summer League game against OKC, an 11 and 12 double-double. He feels like a guy that could, play immediate minutes for them off the bench as that backup big. They've struggled to find backup bigs that are consistent throughout the time that they've had Bam Adebayo, and even more so, they struggled to find a guy to put next to him in that front court. I think Kel'el Ware could start to be that guy, whether it's eventually Bam moves to the 4 and Ware plays the 5, having a bit more height, or vice versa. I guess it just depends who is shooting better from 3 on what volume, because Bam has started to do so. That's something that Kel'el Ware showed he could do at Indiana and did make a 3 in that first game. So I guess we'll just have to wait for that one. But overall, I do think Kel'el Ware could be one of those 2 front court guys of the future next to Bam Adebayo. And maybe the Heat once again got a steal. Feels like they always find a way to do that. They just draft well. It just seems like. I want to talk about Deron Holmes, that situation, which obviously sucks. If you didn't know, he played great in his first Summer League game, 11-7, 1-1, 3-3 from deep, which is impressive. He showed some stretchability at Dayton. He's a big man prospect. I was a big fan of, actually, a guy that I said I would be cool with the Thunder ending up with in the draft. He was one of my favorite players for them to get. And then after the end of his first Summer League game, he tears his Achilles, which is a terrible situation. Thoughts go out to him. He put out a tweet like yesterday basically saying I'm going to be back. I'm going to be better than ever. I appreciate everybody who reached out. And, it's good to see that he's in good spirits. But this really does suck for a player who was probably going to be part of the Nuggets rotation from day one. And Denver, now already lacking a lot of depth, gets another big hit, especially at the big man spot, where now their backup bigs are, again, Zeke Naji, who's just not very good, and DeAndre Jordan, who's like 5,000 years old. I don't really know what they do at that spot. Do they try to bring somebody else in now? It's now just straining the rotation even more when they were going to be asking a lot from young guys who don't really feel ready to contribute after losing KCP. It just feels like everything's going terribly for the Nuggets, and with a lot of the other Western Conference's best teams getting better, they might be in for a slide down the standings a little bit. We'll have to, wait and see till we actually get to the season and what the rotation fully looks like. A lot of offseason left. But it's not looking great for the Nuggets. And of course, again, prayers out to Deron Holmes. Matas Buzelis is one of those guys that I feel like we might look back on as a weird draft slider. He ends up sliding all the way to the 11th pick. It felt like he was almost a given to go around 5 to Detroit, if not just a couple spots lower. Instead, he falls to the Bulls. He lands with the team that's right around his hometown. And in his most recent game, 28 points, 20 of those coming in the second half, 10 of 22 from the field, 4 of 8 from 3. He dunked on somebody, 5 rebounds, 2 steals. He's an exciting player to watch. I'm continuously becoming more and more of a fan of his game. And when I take a look at the 3-point shot, because that was one of the big concerns, was that the 3-point shot really was not there with the G League Ignite. The form just looks too good. I refuse to believe that he won't become at least a decent, if not pretty solid shooter in the league. I think there's paths to him becoming just a straight up good shooter. But if he's at least not serviceable, I would be kind of shocked. I like the athleticism. I don't know. Matas, I'm starting to believe that we're going to look back and be like, how did he fall to the Bulls at 11? And as a team that's finally going to start to go into a rebuild, that's got to be great, I'm sure, for Bulls fans to hear. Let's go ahead and wrap this up quickly with some rapid fire because I'm running out of energy quick. Cody Williams had a really good first game, 21-3-4, wasn't as great in his second game, although he was still better than he was in the Salt Lake City Summer League, where he kind of faded into the background. Some friends that I talked to that scouted him said he did that sometimes at Colorado. In Vegas, he's been a lot more loud, emphatic. I'd like to see that. I want to see him shine. He's a top 10 pick, 3-6 from 3 in that first game. He dunked on somebody. I'm excited about Cody Williams. I want to see him go out there into Utah and kind of stake a claim for himself amongst a variety of young prospects. The Jazz have a ton of young guys as they're looking to go into this new era, and I think Cody Williams is one of the more exciting players out of that group. Dillon Jones, Ajay Mitchell, the 2 guys for the Thunder, I've got to talk about them real quick. Dillon Jones, I've liked a lot of the ball handling I've seen from him. I like a lot of the playmaking, the rebounding. Defense is a work in progress for both him and Ajay Mitchell, but I think Dillon Jones is a player that could theoretically make an impact from day one. In limited rotation minutes for OKC, he had 17-7-2 on 7-15 shooting the other day, and then 21-2-5, 1-1 on 8-14 for Ajay Mitchell, our second round pick. He's going to be a 2-way guy. He's gotten into the paint pretty much at will, it feels like, throughout Summer League, and obviously it's not going to be the same playing in an NBA game, and I don't think he even touches the NBA court outside of maybe some blowout minutes in his first season, but I am really excited about Ajay Mitchell. Kind of has a little bit of Jalen Brunson to his game, not saying he will become him, but I see a little bit of that same shiftiness where he just kind of finds ways to get to his spots. Terrence Shannon also, he was really good against the Pacers, 19-4, 2-2, 3, doing a little bit of everything. I mean, I know Rob Dillingham feels like the guy that could be the player that they play as that backup guard off the bench going into next season. He brings some of that offensive juice, but I don't know. I feel like Terrence Shannon is definitely more ready for that type of role from day one. We'll have to see what they go with and how Rob Dillingham looks on an NBA court because it's hard to project exactly. But Terrence Shannon is a player that Timberwolves fans should be very excited about because I think there is real rotation minutes for him from the get-go, and he can be impactful on a team that's trying to compete for a championship. And finally, for Donovan Clingan, defense has been great. 8 blocks through his first 2 games for Portland, but just 12 points. The offense is clearly still a work in progress. He's trying to take those threes. They're not falling. Maybe they will eventually, but definitely haven't yet. Yeah, big men, it's hard in Summer League to really find that much success. There's not a lot of great guards to get you the ball. Could be another reason why Alex Sarr is kind of trying to make his own shot a bit more, settling for some of those shots because he's not getting that many easy looks fed to him. And, you know, maybe when he's playing a bit more with NBA talent on Washington, that'll be more of the case. But yeah, usually guards and wings are more successful in Summer League than bigs, but I have like the defense that he's shown. And with Washington, I mean, Portland isn't in a rush to be competitive anytime soon, so Clingan's going to be fine, especially because they still have 2 bigs ahead of him in the rotation, it feels like, with Robert Williams as well as DeAndre. Anyways, those are my thoughts on Summer League up until this point. Let me know down below in the comments who your favorite prospects have been, who's impressed you the most, and if there's anybody you do want my thoughts on, because again, I wasn't going to get to everybody in this video. You can go ahead and comment their name down below, and I'll try and get to those. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. I appreciate y'all watching. I'll see y'all later. Real one, say it back.